we can move on to Gary and Gloria with our next presentation. I'm really looking forward to this.
Thank you. I appreciate you you all having us here. My name is Gary Coffin. I'm the community prosecutor with the Second Judicial District Attorney's Office. I'll explain a little bit more about my role here in a bit, but I'll let Gloria introduce herself first.
Hi everyone, my name is Gloria Ortiz and I work alongside with Gary. We work under the CBCR grant and he'll explain that to you all in just a moment. We do work through the Second Judicial District Attorney's Office, and I have a master's degree in social work and paralegal studies. So we'll discuss a little bit about the initiatives we're working on, and him and I will just jump back and forth in here.
Thanks, Gloria. So I'll give a little background about the grant and kind of what we do and what our objectives are. And then we'll talk a little bit about what we've accomplished so far and some of the goals that we have moving forward. And then if there's any questions that arise, we'd be happy to take any questions and even have a little bit of an open discourse. If you have ideas about ways that we could, I guess, be more present in the neighborhood, or organizations that we could interact with that you might see as beneficial, you know, we're all ears. So that'll make more sense after I get going a little bit. So the Community-Based Crime Reduction Grant is a Department of Justice grant that the District Attorney's Office applied for back about 2017, I believe. So we were awarded a $1 million grant in 2017. And the grant comes in two phases. There's the planning phase and the implementation phase. We're currently at the implementation phase portion. I'm sure some of you were present during the planning phase. This is a community-based crime reduction grant, and we're really trying to shake the notion that we're a crime reduction team. This is something that has kind of popped up lately in the community as we're navigating different community organizations. We have the ultimate goal of reducing crime in the community, but the idea of a crime reduction team out of the District Attorney's Office makes it seem like we're trying to put people in jail, and that's not really our role. It plays into our role a little bit, but that's not our predominant role. So during the implementation, or excuse me, during the planning phase, the community came together with stakeholders in the community and the DA facilitated these meetings in order for us to get a better understanding about how we could spend $1 million in the community that would be most impactful from a community's perspective. And so I think that the most important thing to remember is that this grant is really community driven. And we've made some shifts along the way. Gloria and I were hired in October of 2020. And at that point, this grant had shifted right then into the implementation phase. And so Gloria and I picked up a plan, which is a 44-page action plan. And I'll get into that, and not in complete detail, but a little bit. Picked up an action plan and ran with it and tried to implement everything that the community had kind of asked for during the planning phase. There's four main prongs under the action plan. The first one is community engagement. And I'll circle back to this in a little bit, but the community engagement piece, there's a couple of unique things that we do in there, but predominantly we've created a mobile resource center. The mobile resource center is a pull behind, it's like a 40-foot trailer that pulls behind an F-150, a state-owned F-150. And the goal was to set it up as a community, as a mobile office for the community that could provide, we'll say wraparound services is the best way to put it. But each event that we do at the Mobile Resource Center is unique in the services that are provided. Let me put it that way. So the services that come out of the Mobile Resource Center aren't static. It's not the same every time. So as Gloria and I work our way through the community to hold these different events, we get feedback from the community and we alter what the Mobile Resource Center does based on the needs of the community. And so there's a lot of community feedback, and there's constant, we spend a lot of time with for lack of a better term, the brass at the DA's office, reviewing feedback that we get from the community and how to best be effective at what we do in the community. The second prong of the grant is my role, and that's the community prosecutor role. Under the community prosecutor role, initially, the community prosecutor had an office at the Southeast Area Command substation. And the goal was to interact with the police and interact with local businesses to collect data and to, I guess, better allow the community to interact with the district attorney's office. We've gotten some feedback that me fulfilling the role as a community prosecutor in the community causes some fear. And so we've backed down a little bit of that, and we're reorienting the way I fulfill my role. And we'll talk a little bit about that in some more detail too as we move forward. The next role is community justice boards and circles. The idea here was when youth offenders commit crimes, nonviolent, low-level crimes, youth offenders can offend, I believe it's not until the third time that the DA's office hears anything about this. So there's already a pattern of youthful offenders offending by the time that we get to, by the time the DA's office gets involved. And so that raises some concern because how we respond is, it's a little different. And so the idea behind the community justice boards and circles is that we would work together with CYFD and junior probation parole and come up with a true restorative justice program for youth offenders. And when I talk about restorative justice, what I want to point out with is that under our current system of offense, an offender, in our adversarial system, an offender is never really has to take accountability. Now, offenders can often be held accountable, but they may not actually say, look, I'm guilty, I did this. And in fact, they're actually dissuaded from doing so. And so in a restorative justice model, what you get is that an offender comes forward and can take accountability for their actions, but the victim, the person who is perpetrated, will also be at the table and have the ability to understand, well, where was the offender's mindset when the offender offended? And this is really for low-level crime, so I'll put this a little bit more concrete. Let's say a 16-year-old spray paints a business's wall on the side. And it might have been just a junior prank, or maybe it was gang related. We don't know. But the idea behind these community justice boards and circles is that we would sit down with the offender as well as the victim and have a conversation about how did this happen? Why did it happen? And the offender would get a chance and would take part in the remediation to remove the paint from the wall, as well as talk to the offender. The offender would be able to tell the victim the victim would be able to tell the offender how they felt about coming to work and finding their business spray painted. And there's a deeper sense of healing through those types of restorative justice. But the justice boards and circles goes a little deeper. And the idea is that we will have community leaders and community members to go a little deeper into the youth offender's life, as in, how are you doing in school? Are you still going to school? What kind of services? What's your family life? Is there things that we can do to help you navigate school a little bit better? Are you playing sports? And so this is the idea behind the community justice boards and community justice boards or community justice circles that we're being tasked with putting together. This is still in its infancy, but we are making some small progress on that. And then the last prong is gun violence intervention or a violence intervention program. I think this Southeast Area Command or the Community Policing Council understands that Angel Garcia is doing a phenomenal job with gun violence intervention. And so Gloria and I have teamed up. We're working with both Angel and Jerry Bachicha. We attend the GVIS, the gun violence intervention meetings weekly, where we play an active role in those meetings. And then we're doing some other things also to help curb gun violence. And one of those that is just arising recently is beginning a conversation between the DA's office and APD to better understand how to ensure that criminal complaints that come across our office meet the standards that are necessary to hold offenders accountable. And this is especially when it comes down to violent offenders. What our office doesn't want to see is when a violent offense comes across, when a criminal complaint comes across our office or our desk, that we can move forward on that criminal complaint. And so those conversations will continue to go on. Do you want to talk a little bit, Gloria, about some of the stuff we've done in the past and kind of if you want to touch on where we're headed now as far as the Mobile Resource Center goes?
Sure. So as Gary explained, the Mobile Resource Center is basically a trailer that we have hitched up to a truck, and we take it around to different events in different parts in the International District. Since both him and I came on board in October, we right away wanted to come out into the community, and one of the things we held in November was a community coat drive, and we collected from donations to various different organizations, and then just people in general donated coats. And we thought we were going to need lots of coats for, you know, more of the displaced and homeless. And it actually turned the other way. We needed more coats for families and children especially. And so during the event, a couple people had to go out and buy more coats for children because we had tons of kids that didn't have coats. And so with every event Gary and I are putting on, we're realizing what the needs are in the different areas and the demographics of people that we're seeing. The last event we just did was a Cuts for Kids, and we partnered with Vos School. It's on San Pedro, and we partnered with Vos School as well as East Central Ministries. They have an after-school program as well, and a few other agencies. We sent out flyers, and we had some barbers and cosmetologists that donated their time. It was on a Wednesday afternoon. Albuquerque Barber College also they opened their doors and let us go in there. We had the Duke City Gladiators there. We had the Mobile Resource Center there with lots of giveaways for the kids and then stuff for the parents as well. They ended up cutting 50 kids' hair. And these were all kids from, you know, primarily both school, but, you know, a lot of the siblings and then some from the other areas. The McDonald's next to Albuquerque College actually donated 43 Happy Meals. And so after the kids got their haircuts, they were able to go on over across and grab a Happy Meal along with pizza Gary had bought and brought along. And we had waters, and then the Gladiators brought donuts. And so everyone came together. We also had the court dog. Has anybody heard about our court dog, Woodstock? So the DA's office has a dog who has been specially trained to sit in a courtroom with children or victims as a support. And so he's been trained to sit in a court hearing for 6 hours, and he'll just sit quietly next to these people. And so he's adorable. He's this chunky lab that's just the best thing ever. We have another dog. Her name is Roselle, and she hasn't really come out into the community too much yet, but they finished training her. I believe it was like, it's a pretty intense training of about 2 years. And so his handler will bring him out to different events. And now Roselle hopefully will start joining for different events as well. But they're the most passive, loving dog ever. And so the minute you see Woodstock, the kids will gravitate toward him, and he's real friendly and sits and lets them pet, and he gives kisses. And so he's a breath of fresh air. And so we put those events on. I just barely saw a message pop up, and I caught the tail end of it as far as funding is concerned. For the Cuts event and for the Coats event, we just basically went out and solicited donations. I have a lot of family and friends, and so I just kind of put it out there. If you have any coats you want to get rid of, I made a trip to my hometown in Las Vegas and picked up a trunk full of coats. And then Gary also, with his nonprofit, they collected lots of coats there as well. We've been very fortunate to have a lot of people want to support these initiatives, and so it's a lot that Gary and I are doing, and this is the mobile resource hub you see here is Gary and I. We're the two people working. We're partnering with different agencies, and so it's been like Gary called it earlier, God's work. You know, we go out there and we see these people, and we're one-to-one with these children and these individuals, and it's very heartwarming. We're going to be doing a small event upcoming now for Mother's Day. It's just going to be strictly in the housing district, the housing authority, and probably just going to put out something for the kids to make Mother's Day gifts for their moms, grandparent, whoever their guardians are. And that way, you know, they can come over and either pot a little plant for their parent and draw a picture, paint. We just want to be out there, you know. We've got some big events coming up, and Gary can touch base on those upcoming events. We have a lot, but more than anything else, we want to be just basically seen, and people know that when they see us or they see the Mobile Resource Center, they know they can come to us and we can help with sending them for resources or services and link them to a navigator through East Central Ministries, or we're also working with New Mexico Highlands University for interns. And so we can have these resources and these services set up for these individuals. We have also just partnered along with Adobe program. Gary, I'll let you talk about Adobe. And we're also sending referrals to Adobe. So we've got a lot going on. And so I'm going to piggyback to Gary, and I'm going to look at some of these comments. Someone asked about the committees. So Gary, I'll let you just pick up on that if you don't mind.
Sounds good. So the things that we have upcoming that are pretty good with the Mobile Resource Center, we're beginning a Laundry Love event at the Spin Cycle at San Pedro and Gibson. The inaugural launch of the Laundry Love event will be from 10 to 2 on Saturday, next Saturday, April 30th. What Laundry Love is a every other week event where citizens can come and do free laundry. It'll be staffed with social workers who will have a fanny pack filled with quarters to fill, to purchase your laundry at Spin Cycle. So every other Monday, the first and third Monday of every month moving forward, at least until September, at the Spin Cycle, community can come and do free laundry. This is a nationwide deal, a nationwide event. You can go to Laundry Love's website and see where they're doing it elsewhere in the nation. But we're bringing it to the international district because it seems to be a need that is definitely unmet in the international district. And so with gas prices rising and some of the stuff that we're seeing in the community, it's a good opportunity for people to find some dignity through clean clothes. And if we tried to do it, we're hoping to do it on a weekly schedule. But it seemed a little overzealous, and so we'll be doing free laundry from 10 to 2, or excuse me, from 5:30 till 8 p.m. Every other Monday, or first and third Monday of the month at Spin Cycle at San Pedro and Gibson. We've also created one gun violence prevention mural. We work with New Mexicans to prevent gun violence, and that gun violence prevention mural is on the, I guess, kind of back of EPC. Endorphin Power Company. And Susie was definitely present for a lot of that. I'm sure many of you know Susie. And then we're looking at doing another gun violence prevention mural, but this one's going to be a little bit different and a little bit larger. We're working with the city right now to secure another location, but this is going to be an augmented gun violence prevention mural. It's likely either going to be on the fairgrounds wall along Louisiana, or possibly on the Gibson Medical Center. But what the augmented portion of the mural is that when you point a phone, like a camera, at the mural kind of comes alive a little bit. So if there's a butterfly like sitting on the edge of a tree, the butterfly would fly away. There's also hidden embedded QR codes. And so as you move your phone across the mural to look at it, it does a couple different things. It plays music. It'll also show a list of service providers in the district. And so that's something that can be updated as service providers change and are in flux. And so it's another opportunity to bring services to the district. In June, for Gun Violence Prevention Month, we're doing a gun buyback, and that's going to be done in conjunction with APD and New Mexicans to Prevent Gun Violence. The gun buyback will be held at La Mason Presbyterian Church. And, our partnerships continue to grow. We're working with several different churches in the International District. We're working with East Central Ministries, United Way, Pastor Landry, Pastor Abel Diaz, and we're really just trying to spread goodwill in the district, and that's what to us crime prevention looks like, is that if we can really accentuate the positive areas in the district and bring light to the areas that that are more crime ridden, we're hoping that will reduce the amount of crime in the district.
We also have upcoming this Sunday, we're going to be part of the Cinco de Mayo fiesta at the Expo at the Spanish Village, Indian Village. So that's happening on Sunday from 12 to 7 if anybody's looking for something to do. And it's a free event. They're going to have music and food and different vendors, but the district attorney's office is going to have a table there with different representatives from our victims advocates to us with the Mobile Resource Center with the CBCR, as well as, possibly even try to make it a recruiting event. If anybody's interested in knowing more about the district attorney's office or working there, we'll have personnel staff available as well. So we'll be there this Sunday. The following weekend, we have on the 30th, we've got a lot going on. We have the Laundry Love, as well as that morning, staff members and Gary and I will be doing some tree planting in the International District. And we're just trying to be more involved in the community, working more with the outreach and talking to so many people to find out what the needs are and how can we support you more. So that's basically where we're at right now. Someone had asked about the committees, and during the time that with COVID, a lot of the communication kind of was on the back burner because people weren't really able to meet and talk and stuff. And so right now, I believe we're forming new relationships with some of the people that were in the committee, as well as new relationships. So
to talk a little bit more about the subcommittees, I don't know what happened fully Virginia was in charge, but it did fall off, Patricia. And when Virginia left, there was a period, it took them a while to find Gloria and I to rehire. And so there was a period of stagnation in the grant. And when we came back on, we had our clear directives, which we believe came from the committees, and that's where we began operating under. We've talked a lot about the goodwill that we're doing in the community. Let me talk a little bit about the community policing role, and then I'll open it up for, I see that there's probably some questions in the chat. Gloria and I, pretty much every day, we sit in the bridge, and let me talk about what the bridge is in the DA's office. So every felony arrest from the night before gets processed through the bridge in the DA's office. We review every criminal complaint that comes in, and we look at it from two lenses. One lens is that we focus on looking for obviously the most violent criminals that need to be held, and where the DA's office will file a pretrial detention motion, and that's strictly with an eye towards safety of the community. And then we also look for low-level felonies. Maybe somebody was caught with a tinfoil that had half of a fentanyl pill on it. And so rather than moving them through the system, oftentimes, depending on their background, it's possible for us to put them into some type of PPD. What does the PPD program stand for again, Gloria? Pre-prosecution diversion program.
Diversion program.
Yeah, sorry. And so Gloria and I sit in all those meetings because what happens is after you've been in there for a while, you start to see occasionally some of the same people come through. And we really look at it at a lens through the Southeast Area Command, because that's where we do. That's our jurisdiction. And so we try to focus really on all the crimes, the known crime drivers in the area, and focus on crime trends. And we keep a close eye on that and collect that data, and choose where we're going to do these goodwill initiatives based on where the crime data says that we. So if we see a crime data, a hotspot area of crime where crimes are repeatedly occurring, we're going to bring services to that area and start doing goodwill in that area to try to lower those crime numbers, is probably the easiest way to say it. And that's the community policing role that we're trying to fill.
There are a lot of questions that I'm going through here, and we can maybe start with, do you all feel like the subcommittee question was answered? We can touch more on that, other than, you know, we're working these relationships again. Like Gary said, him and I are fairly new, and so we came into the grant and we try to pick up where things have been left, but we've had to kind of recreate things just because of COVID as well, and then with the change in the employees. But yes, we are out there. We're trying to build trust. We're, you know, someone else asked, you know, what we're doing to build that rapport, and it's basically just being in the community. We attended a Laundry Love event in the South Valley last week. I only went for a couple hours because I wasn't feeling well, but Gary was there, and I mean, what more rapport are we building when we're helping you, these people actually do their laundry? You know, we thought we're going to stand there, we're going to just kind of look around and help, you know, possibly just put some detergent in the washers, and Gary was literally doing laundry, helping people move his the clothes from the washers to the dryers, and I sat behind and I was playing with the kids. There are lots of children. Mamas have to bring their kids with them when they do their laundry, and so I didn't hold babies because, like I said, I wasn't feeling well, but I played with a lot of kids, talked to them. You know, they have really great program through the Dolly Parton Network where she sends books. And so there's a whole library of books for these kids to choose from and be able to take home with them. They have coloring stuff. And so, you know, I was with the kids and then got to talk to a couple of moms. And, you know, that's part of the rapport building for us, is just being there. They're not going to come right out and start telling us what their needs are immediately. We don't expect that. But once they start to see us and start familiarize themselves, this is Gloria. Okay, she's here and she's a safe person, or Gary, or, you know, whatever the case is, you know, eventually they're going to come to us also. And we're hoping that that starts to happen and they feel comfortable with us being in their neighborhood, in their community.
Diana Lopez asked a question about whether the mobile resource center goes to other areas of the city. So we purchased the mobile resource center, the DA did, through state funds, because we didn't want it to revert back to the feds at the conclusion of the grant. So it's a state-owned operation. Our goal and everything that we do is through a lens of sustainability in the district. And it's probably something I should talk about as far as the grant goes. So a good example of this, and I could continue with all of the events that we're doing, but Laundry Love is a really good example. We're partnering with 2 other churches as well as United Way to start Laundry Love. Laundry Love is not a program that's ran out of the DA's office, but we're help facilitating the start of Laundry Love. It will be owned by the churches in the district. And we're also pairing these churches with the grant plant. And so we're using some of the funds from the grant in order to hire grant writers in order to create sustainable programs that last beyond the end of our funding. And to bring that back to the Mobile Resource Center, is we're hoping to be able to do the same thing with the grant plant, is to find, well, we have our community partner for the Mobile Resource Center, which is East Central Ministries. And the idea would be the grant plant would then purchase a Mobile Resource Center to be owned by East Central Ministries, so they could deploy it in the international district, while we go replicate it. And probably the next target location would be the South Valley. And so it's that's the answer, is that right now it's only for the international district, and we're hoping, you know, through sustainability, to keep this in the international district and then duplicate it elsewhere. I'm trying to look through here to see.
We don't have a link yet for Laundry Love, but if you like, we can, Gary and I can write our emails. We can type in our emails here, and if you reach out to us, we'd be more than happy to send the flyers over to you. for the Laundry Love event. They should be done probably by Monday.
Mhm.
We don't have an office right now currently in the neighborhood or anything. Gary and I do a lot of our work from home, but a lot from the East Central Ministries as well, the Mobile Resource Center. So I know someone had asked, Amit asked about why is it 9 to 5 when a lot of the crime happens during non-traditional hours?
What is 9 to 5? I don't understand what's 9 to 5. We generally work, I mean, all hours. I mean, we're in the district at all separate hours. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that we're 24/7, but we do events, you know, at all different times of the day, weekend. There's no real
Evenings.
structure. We don't have a 9 to 5 job, is to be clear. Somebody had asked that the restorative justice boards, are they operational? They're not operational yet, and that is correct. They are not operational yet. In order for us to launch the restorative justice boards and circles, it's going to take, it's a pretty heavy lift because it's getting CYFD and JPPO to begin sharing crime data with us from low-level offenders. We're in conversations and we're heading in the right direction, but no, they're not off the ground yet. We're identifying people to serve on the boards at this time, and we're hope to have them up and running soon.
And some Jeff asked about the DOJ funding continued, or is there an application every year? So this grant is a 3-year grant, and we are in the 2nd year.
4th year.
4-year grant. We're okay. Well, sorry.
No,
guys.
it's a 3-year grant. You're correct, Gloria. It is a
Okay.
3-year grant, but we're operating under 1-year extension because of COVID, and it's currently set to expire September of this year, but it's pretty certain that we're going to go get a second extension, and it'll expire at the September of next year.
Mm-hmm. And Diana, we would love to have you volunteer with us and come along with us for whatever all these events we have. We have the 30th coming up, and that's the Laundry Love event. But I wrote down your email address, and like I said, we're gonna send our email addresses to you as well. And you're more than welcome to always reach out to us, ask questions, ask where we're gonna be. You can see a lot of our stuff on the district attorney's website as well, on the Facebook page. But let me just finish here. Anybody else? Let's see. Thank you about staying positive. It's tough sometimes. I mean, we all know what it's like working out and trying to meet everyone's needs. And it's not always, you know, going to be perfect, but we're certainly putting our 150% effort into what we're doing out here. And like Gary said, we're trying to build sustainability. You know, at the end of the day, when this grant is ending or at its end or whatever, we want to walk away and know that we built that sustainability with assisting organizations and agencies to apply for grants to keep them going. We've got the Women's Reentry Center. We've got the churches that we're working with and trying to assist them with applying for these grants so that they can become solvent.
We'll put our emails in the chat. I thank you for the opportunity to tell you about all we're doing in the International District. Please feel free to reach out if you want to get involved or have any other questions. We'd love to hear from you.
I don't think we've met the U.S. Attorney, Alex. Maybe, I'm sure Gary has, though. Gary, have you? No?
No, I don't know the U.S. Attorney, Alex. As far as how we collected coats, our partners were Catholic Charities, Indivisible Albuquerque, formerly known as Indivisible Nob Hill, as well as East Central Ministries, Gloria's family. Let me be clear, they donated a ton of coats.
Las Vegas, there's a ton of us norteños.
And we collected coats, hats, and socks and handed them out in December. I think that's most of the questions. If I missed any, feel free to forward them to us.
Nice. Oh, the former U.S. Attorney was involved in the process. Oh. I wasn't aware. This is the first time I've heard the name, so I wasn't familiar with him. Gotcha.
I want to thank you. I just was amazed at what I perceive as a lot of interest from the people listening in your efforts. And I would like to ask those of you who express interest in supporting and participating as community members, let us know on the Southeast CPC too, that you're doing that, just so that we know that we're helping connect people for the better of our community. I will add one thing, and then I'll turn it over to Commander Langwit. Yes, our Angel Garcia is on the violence intervention program, and he was at the Albuquerque Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association meeting last week. He's going to be doing a podcast, and I'm going to help support him in his efforts to do that podcast with the deputy commander that he's working with. Can't remember the name, but I wanted to also give a shout out. Susie has not shown up. I guess her meeting is lasting a bit longer, but she also is participating in the gun violence task force. And both Angel, I guess Angel hasn't shown up yet either. I've asked Angel and Susie to give a presentation sometime in the future when they get basically the feet on the ground on what their plans are and their action plan. So with that, if there are no other comments or questions, I'll turn it over to Commander Langwit.
Good evening, everyone. I would just add real quick too for Gloria and Gary, U.S. Attorney Alex Ubaez, he was actually very instrumental in the development of VIP, the VIP partnership between the DA's office and the city and the police department and probation parole. We actually went to New York together, John Jay, when we were looking at bringing VIP here. So as far as the weekly GVIS meetings and really the formation of VIP, he was very, very instrumental in it. So I'll just point that out too. And Mike, the deputy commander that you're talking about for the podcast will be Jason Janopoulos, who goes out and does custom notifications, VIP custom notifications with Angel Garcia. So that being said, I'm